42-34, Colorado falls to 1-7. Mathematically eliminated from going to a bowl game this year, Brian. We figured that was going to happen. It was just a matter of when. But they really are just going to be playing for pride now down the stretch. Kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly out here tonight. They do score a season-high 34 points, 14 more than they had in any other game this year, which is just hard to believe when you're talking about this far into the season. But, you know, a lot of positives offensively, and I think you start with Dion Smith because 2 weeks ago he left this football field on a stretcher in today, his first 100-yard game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a loss, but out of all the things, that's one of the great stories, I think, in the Pac-12. Not just Colorado, but you got to look at that as one of the great stories in the Pac-12 when a guy leaves with a scary injury like that. And obviously, it's obvious that it was not a serious injury, but to leave that scary and come back 2 weeks later and you get your first career 100-yard game and the first one CU's had in almost a year, that's a pretty cool story. And, you know, he played really good football tonight, and it was great to see him back. And he's one of the really good guys on this team. Yeah. And so, you know, to see that performance out of him, you know, I think is really cool. And, you know, you look at those good things, and it does start with him. Jordan Tyson's on that list as well. You know, this is a guy, a segue to that. You know, you and I started hearing about him, you know, before fall camp even started. The people were like, that's the guy. That's a freshman. And like, really? Like true freshman? You know, wasn't one of the highest recruited guys. And now all of a sudden it's like, whoa, that guy, that's an explosive player. I mean, that was I hate to bring up a name that, you know, Buff fans maybe not like right now, but that was a Brendan Rice type of performance. I mean, that's explosive plays we have not seen from somebody since Brendan Rice. And so to put two of them together in a game like that, that's huge. I mean, that kid's a star in the making, I think.
I'll admit I kind of thought it was a mistake when they went away from Nico Reed. And I was and Nico was out there kick returning tonight, and that looked good. But he proved me wrong with that 88-yard punt return for a touchdown. That was pretty awesome. And sticking on offense, they've got an interesting dilemma here at the quarterback position because Owen McCown has played in 4 football games, and he could probably work his way back into playing more down the stretch here with 4 games left, but plays in one more game and then he can't redshirt. We heard Mike Sanford in the post-game press conference talk about how he's 167 to 172 pounds depending on the day, and that I hadn't heard him mention this before. We knew that he had taken the abdominal shot in the Cal game, but he made it sound like he's pretty banged up at this point. And so he said there's ongoing discussions with him. I think the smart thing to do is for him to not play a game again the rest of the year, redshirt, but you've also got JT Shrout, who's really struggling with accuracy issues right now. The wow factor's there. That pass to Jordan Tyson in the first half was a thing of beauty, one of the best throws I've seen here at Folsom Field, but it hasn't been improving drastically enough for JT Shrout to feel comfortable with him in that role going forward.
Yeah, for sure. And that throw to Jordan Tyson is the types of things you and I saw in the limited amount of practices we saw over the last 2 years, right? Throws that we would see and say, wow, that kid's got an arm. But they're just not enough. And, you know, you balance that one with, then there's the flea flicker that, you know, inexplicably there's nobody really around him. He's not feeling a lot of pressure. At least there wasn't pressure. He might have felt it. But he throws off his back foot. It's a floater that ASU picks off. That was a big play in the game. And, you know, he came into this game 45% completion percentage, and it was lower than that tonight, 13 of 34. And there's enough sample size now to say that's probably, you know, the type of quarterback he is. I mean, he's probably going to be around that 50, 55%. It'd be nice if they got up to that point, right? But I do think the smart thing at this point is redshirt Owen McCown. And you look at the schedule they have over the next month, and if the kid's already banged up and he's hovering around 170 pounds, do you really want him to play against Oregon and USC and Washington and Utah, 4 of the best teams in this conference, and 4 heavy-hitting teams in this conference? I don't think so. I mean, I think if you're CU, you roll with JT Shrout, get Drew Carter ready. We saw him for one play tonight. Get Maddox Kopp ready, right? Get those 3 guys ready to just finish off the season. It's only 4 games, and tell Owen McCown, great job this season. Go get ready for next year.
Yeah, if there was something on the line, maybe you'd feel differently. But Mike Sanford said we're playing for memories. If that's what you're playing for, then you got to look out for his future. And I think they will. I don't think there's any question about that. Mike Sanford
made it sound like he was going to.
Yeah. Defensively, again, they didn't show quit, which was good, but
Yeah.
because they struggled in the first half so much, it made it tough for this team to come back into this football game. And missed tackles, again, an issue. We saw that first game of the Gerald Chapman era as a defensive play caller looked great, and they've kind of reverted back a little bit to what we saw the first 5 weeks. There were some, again, glimpses of this group playing inspired football, but just not well enough. And Trenton Bourguet, I mean, he looked like Joe Montana back there, and this was his first college start, so that's not good.
No, it's not good. And I will say I thought the missed tackles looked different than before. In that, before it was kind of just guys kind of flailing and missing guys or bouncing off, but it was weird early in the game. Felt like the Buffs were more interested in trying to poke the ball free than getting the ball carrier down. And, ASU guys would hold on to the ball and keep going and get another 10, 15 yards. And so I will credit the defense for this, is that they did something we haven't seen all year really, is they made pretty good second half adjustments. And they gave up 28 points in the first half. I think Bourguet had 250 passing yards in the first half, and they give up 14 in the second half. And credit the Buffs for making those adjustments. Now, you played so poorly in the first half that it wasn't enough, but credit them for making those adjustments. They played good football enough to where at the end of that game, Mike Sanford felt confident in his defense when ASU got the ball back after Tyson's punt return, that he thought, I think our guys can get us stopping and give us another shot. That didn't happen, but you felt like the defense might be able to do that at that point in the game.
Yeah. There's 4 games left. You've got Oregon coming in, and it's going to be a game on ESPN on a national stage at 1:30 Mountain Time. ASU came in here as a 13.5-point favorite. What is that line going to look like when that comes out tomorrow?
I don't know. And the thing that's scary to me about the game, for if you're a CU fan, is that not only is Oregon a really good football team, the number 8 in the country, but this is a team that, at this point in the stage, they're going into November, they're thinking CFP, and they've got a really ugly stain on their record with a 49-3 loss to Georgia. They've got to look really good in every game in order to kind of stay in that, and I think they will stay in it, but, you can't let Colorado hang around. If you're Oregon, you've got to blow them away, and I think that they're going to come in looking to do that and and make another statement. It's not going to get a lot of attention around the country because it's Colorado, but if you win 66-10, that looks impressive more so than if Oregon wins this week, that wins next week 42-34. That doesn't look good for Oregon.
Yeah. And the student section, they were kind of later arriving today, but by
Early leaving.
Yeah, well, that's hard to blame them, but
I know.
they are still supporting this football team more than frankly, this football team probably deserves. Again, they are showing fight, but it's been pretty impressive. I wonder, is that partly still kind of post-COVID shutdown? Kids are just excited to get out because it's been pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think so, and I think the game time helped the student section. 5:30 is kind of a nice time for a student in that you've had all day, to kind of get ready for it. And 5:30 is early enough; you can still go do something afterwards. And a lot of costumes, Halloween costumes out there. And so,
Batman made an appearance in the press box, so that was different.
That was a little interesting. I don't know what the deal was there, but Batman was in the press box. So I don't know if Dave Plotty gave out a parking pass for the Batmobile or not, but Batman was there. But yeah, a lot of costumes. The student section, give them credit, and you're right. You can't blame them for not being there in the fourth quarter. There were some, and Mike Sanford gave them props for those that were still there, but the students are still into this, and so you would hope they'd show up next Saturday. And
it's this guy's birthday right here, so happy birthday, Brian. It's unfortunate the Buffs couldn't give you a win here today. I know, you're not rooting like the fans in the stands, but it's always makes for a little better post game when they win the game.
Yeah, for sure. And it's actually the first time CU's ever played on my birthday since I started covering this team. The last time my birthday was on a Saturday was 2016, and it was their bye week. And my wife and I went to Chicago, and I went to a Notre Dame game on my birthday. So this is the first time I covered a game on my birthday. So I'm glad it was an entertaining game at least. Yeah. But yeah, it would have been nice to get the win again. Not because I root for them, but just because it's better to cover a win.
All right. Well, there's 4 games left. No bowl eligibility to hope for, but we'll be around. We don't quit, so we'll be around for these final 4 games.